Nightclub hall. When Fu Nancheng and Lu Yao came in, Zhuxi and Ningxiner were already there. Ningxiner also informed many young masters in the Beijing circle to come and watch her humiliate Zhuxi. Zhuxi didn't know how much Ningxiner knew yet, so she planned to trick her first. Ningxiner took out the photos from her mobile phone. "Zhuxi, it's you in this photo. Why are you in the gynecology department of the hospital?" Zhuxi took a look at the photo and her heart finally settled down. It seemed that Ningxiner didn't know that she was pregnant. Dr. Yang is her man, nothing will go wrong, and it seems that the secret of her pregnancy will not be exposed. Zhuxi raised her willow-shaped eyebrows and said, "Ningxiner, I'm here today to warn you to stop digging into my privacy, or I don't mind filing a lawsuit." Seeing that Zhuxi had rebuked Ningxiner with just a few words, Lu Yao stepped forward and looked at Zhuxi with anticipation. "Xiner, what's wrong? Is there a misunderstanding?" Lu Yao looked into the girl's clear and bright eyes. She didn't feel embarrassed at all about being exposed. Instead, she smiled lightly, looking calm and composed. Yao, I'm telling the truth. She was indeed deceiving people from the start. Thank you for reminding me last time, otherwise everyone would still be in the dark." "This idiot! This demeanor alone is enough to make, if you want to target someone else, why mention me?" Fu Nancheng's cold eyes drifted towards Lu Yao. "Well, have some common sense, you idiot." At this time, a person walked in. Everyone looked up and saw that it was Fu Jue who came. The young prince of the Fu family, now the gaming tycoon in the Beijing circle, Fu Jue is here. Fu Jue walked forward and glanced at Lu Yao. At this time, Fuji's voice came to my ears. "It's normal for a girl to go to the hospital. What does it have to do with her boyfriend? A group of people studying at prestigious universities don't understand this?" No one in Beijing dared to talk to Lu Yao like this. Now that she was called "you idiot," Lu Yao's face turned pale. "This Fu Jue." I barely realized that Mr. Fu was here too. Fu Jue looked at Fu Nancheng and sneered. "Not a word. I thought you weren't here." "Fu Jue, you should call me uncle. Don't talk about uncle to me. I treat you as my own uncle, but how do you treat me and Cece?" "Fu Jue, don't be impulsive." Lu Yao didn't know about Fu Jue and Zhuxi yet. No one knows better than Fu Nancheng who Zhuxi's first man is, so it's best for him to answer Lu Yao. "I see your fiancé is very curious about Cece's boyfriend, so why don't you tell him?" Fu Nancheng was wearing a black coat, looking simple and noble. He did not look at Lu Yao, but only focused his deep gaze on Fu Jue and Zhuxi. "Fu Jue, holding hands doesn't mean you're together. Need I tell you what a real couple is like?" Zhuxi had already smelled the gunpowder at the scene. She didn't expect Fu Jue to come. In fact, she could handle it on her own. "Fu Nancheng is crazy. What does he want to say? What's the point of saying all this? Come, Mr. Fu, I'll treat you to a drink." She also didn't want Fu Jue to talk about her past with Fu Nancheng. She and Fu Nancheng were together by agreement and broke up peacefully. They were very happy when they were together, and he didn't treat her badly when they broke up. "Cece, it's been a long time since we met. I'll tell you about my new game later." Zhuxi reached out and pulled Fu Jue. Fu Jue then withdrew his gaze. He reached out and held Zhuxi's hand. "Okay." Fu Jue took Zhuxi away. "It seems that Xuxian's boyfriend is actually Mr. Fu. She is actually not simple. Ex-boyfriend. It seems like Mr. Fu has 100% unrequited love. Wait, are you feeling a little cold?" As soon as the protagonist left, the young men and CEOs in the Beijing circle who were watching also dispersed. Everyone was whispering to each other. Lu Yao and Ningxiner planned tonight with great enthusiasm. They originally wanted to expose Zhuxi and slap Zhuxi in the face, but they didn't expect Fu Jue to suddenly appear and make them hit a wall. "Nancheng, why is your face so gloomy? You finally came here, so why don't you have a drink with me?" "Do you think I'm free?" Lu Yao asked jealously, but Fu Nancheng's voice was so cold that it lacked a trace of warmth. Lu Yao looked up and met Fu Nancheng's cold gaze. Lu Yao froze. It was the first time that this man looked at her with such a cold and displeased look. Second brother! As soon as Lu Yao opened her mouth, Song Zilin came over. Nancheng, you and Zilin still have something to talk about. I won't bother you anymore. Second brother, must you really marry Miss Lu? It is clear that she brought her followers today to target Zhuxi. Song Zilin stretched out his long legs and walked towards Fu Nancheng. Song Zilin looked at the man beside him. I remember you used to hate Zhuxi the most. Why are you suddenly defending her? Of course we have to side with him. Zhuxi is the king. Our family still owes him a favor. Suddenly I realized that he was a good person. Fu Nancheng's face was very indifferent, and he raised his thin lips. Ha, Zhuxi. It was an incredible charm. Club bar. Fuju, thank you for earlier. It's nothing, I just can't stand people bullying you who think you have no one behind you. Fuju smiled, and at this moment, his cell phone rang. Fuju glanced at his phone and said nothing more. After a while, his phone rang again. Fuju took his phone and put it away. Bye-bye, busy people. After picking up the phone, Fuju stood up and said, Then, I'll go first. Next time they bully you, remember to call me. Zhuxi sat at the bar. Zhuxi took a sip of her cocktail. Fu Nancheng found Zhuxi's slender and beautiful figure on the bar club chair. Another glass of milk? Fu Nancheng looked at her clear and bright eyes and asked, Drink milk at night? Zhuxi straightened her delicate body and frowned slightly. No need to look back. I knew it was him. Fu Nancheng always comes to interfere in other people's business. Is he here to scold me for stealing my notes? Why did you go to the hospital? Now his deep gaze fell on her little face, revealing inquiry and scrutiny. Zhuxi's heart skipped a beat. Did he suspect something? Don't panic, calm down first. Zhuxi thought for a moment and then said, I had a stomachache, so I went to the hospital to get it checked out. Fu Nancheng knew that her stomach was not feeling well. He looked down at her flat belly and asked, Your stomach hasn't healed yet? What did the doctor say? Nothing serious. The doctor said I'm healthy. Fu Nancheng took 2 steps forward, came in behind of her, and whispered, If you're not feeling well, it is better to keep quiet and not interfere in other people's problems. The man's gentle voice fell into her ears. Zhuxi looked up and said, Someone else's problem? Mr. Fu heard there was a rumor on campus that I stole the notebook. You wouldn't do something like that. Fu Nancheng lowered his handsome eyelids and looked at the beautiful little face in his arms. Zhuxi's heart skipped a beat. He actually didn't believe that she had stolen the review notebook. I didn't expect Fu Nancheng to trust me so much. What's your plan now? You're not going to give up so easily, are you? This isn't your style. Zhuxi retracted her gaze and put her 2 small hands on his healthy arm with the watch on it, trying to push him away. Mr. Fu, you should just worry about your fiancé. Don't worry about my business. Fu Nancheng stood there for a while. When he hugged Zhuxi at the bar, he happened to hear a few rich second-generation people talking there. The 2 of them immediately moved away from each other. Several second-generation rich men had filthy and excited looks on their faces and were planning on seducing Zhuxi. Hey, isn't this Su Xian? Did she invite a man to drink with her? Su Xian is truly a playgirl as rumored. Will you play with us? If you like to play, I will play with you. Fu Nancheng paused. A terrible layer of gloom covered his handsome brows, and he turned around and walked towards those rich second generations. Turning his head, he saw Fu Nancheng with a sinister look on his face. They all stood up and said, Mr. Fu? Next episode preview. I guess you all don't know Zhuxi. She's the pride of our Tsinghua University and the talented girl who will lead the team to compete tomorrow. Mr. Zhang brought Zhuxi forward and solemnly introduced her in front of everyone. What? Zhuxi is a genius girl? She is a beautiful and smart student at school. Which door did God close for her? So the story about her stealing the notebook is not true? How can it be considered stealing if someone uses their own notebook? No, that's impossible. If she's a genius girl, why didn't she say so? Zhuxi slowly raised her red lips. Sorry, I didn't explain it clearly when I first came. I really enjoyed being classmates with all of you. Where are you going, classmate Ning? You look terrible. Are you sick? Lu Yao and Ning Xiner were surrounded by the crowd and were criticized by everyone, and everyone asked them to apologize. Ning Xiner still wants to leave? She has wronged the genius girl and should feel guilty. Apologize if you feel guilty. Miss Lu is hiding in plain sight. She is the one who instigated Ning Xiner to do stupid things.